Hello and welcome to the North Metro SBDC programming.
We have Nancy Barnett here today, y'all. She's actually a one of our lead consultants for the SBDC, and not just our center, but multiple centers. And she runs our leading edge program, which I think is something to note as well. And that's a 9-week intensive course
Intensive.
on really getting behind your business plan and really focusing on that. So those that haven't started their business, maybe something to think about down the road. We've got the next one coming in September. But she's also has her own business that she's had for quite some time now, and tends to be pretty good at marketing and getting the word out there and getting people to buy what she's selling. So I'm gonna hand it off to Miss Nancy Barnett to go over marketing for your childcare business.
So I've been doing this for about, I don't know, 13 years now, I guess, teaching and consulting for the SBDC. Raul's right. I have two businesses, one with the same business partner. We didn't start them at the same time, started one, and then the other one grew out of actually learning how to teach entrepreneurs. So that grew out of that. So how many of you, when I say the word, and I really like, if we can do it, really like you guys to respond, give me, do questions. I kind of do a free fall thing here. It's just like, don't be afraid to ask a question. That's how we learn. I guarantee you, if you're asking the question, there's somebody else in this group that's saying, thank God she asked that question. I have no idea what that woman has been saying for the last 5 minutes. So, think of yourself as a public service, okay, when you ask questions like that. So when there's two words that I have found entrepreneurs or business people often struggle with, and that is marketing and accounting. Those seems to be the two ones that people struggle with. So I was talking to Raul, and he said this class is kind of divided in half, pretty much. There's some people who haven't started their childcare business yet, or I guess there's three, haven't started their childcare. There's people who already have centers, if you will, and then we have the home care. So I want us to, when we think about marketing, so often we really think about that dreaded word called sales. And sales is really, really scary because oftentimes we are the face of our marketing. And when someone doesn't buy from us, it becomes very personal. Okay, so part of this is setting up systems that make it easy for you to market. It takes time to set them up, but it is, once you get these systems set up, it gets a whole lot easier. So I'm going to share my screen here for a second, and I'm going to move through this stuff pretty fast. But you guys get a copy of this, and we're also going to give you a bunch of resources as well. And when you get a copy of this, guys, can you see it now? Does everybody see it? Okay.
Yes, we can see it.
You do see it, right? Okay. All right. I always worried. Okay. So hang on a second here. Let me get this part set up. Okay, so Dora, if you can kind of manage this for me and let me know when somebody has a question, that would really, because I kind of like focus on other things, and sometimes I don't see everybody as I should, if you will. So, okay, so now that I've got my driver, okay, we'll start. So, there it goes. Okay, computer is not. Okay. So, so let's look at this marketing as not a fearful thing, but a key component to the success of your business. Okay. So one of the things is I want to talk a little bit about this power of our mindset. Okay, mindset is everything. How we speak to ourselves in our head really makes a difference in how we come across, or it even helps us when we think about creating marketing material or ever, which is just an extension of you, if you will. So part of this is, how do I put first things first? What counts? So the next thing I'm going to talk about is this whole idea of entrepreneurship. And what does that mean? Often people in childcare don't think of themselves as entrepreneurs, and you guys are. All right. So this was the best definition that I really ever found for an entrepreneur. And it is, entrepreneurship is the recognition and pursuit of the opportunity without regard to the resources you currently control, with the confidence that you can succeed, with the flexibility to change course as necessary, and the will to rebound from setbacks. That's a lot of things, but it's very, very important to realize that even when we talk about business planning, and like I say, we have people go through it, 9-10 week class, okay, to do these business plans. The day you start your business, something will change. It will. It won't go according to the book. And your ability to adapt and move forward is going to set you ahead of many people, okay, because they get stuck, they get rigid. The less rigid you are in your thinking and your ability to adapt and accept change and move will put you ahead of a huge piece of your competition. So the biggest killer, because it dies, of the entrepreneurial mindset is not what you expect. It's not the economy. Economies go up and down all the time. Okay. It's our headset. It's doubt in our head, in our abilities, in our and so forth. I call her Sally or Sam self-doubt that lives in our head. And they're telling us that we can't do it. We've never done it before. The competition is better. I failed at something else before. I don't have the education. I don't have the, whatever. All these words that go in our head. Sally's self-doubt has been in your head since you were probably 5 years old, and you were able to recognize it. It's actually always in your head, but you didn't recognize it until you were about 5. You cannot get rid of Sally or Sam in your head. They will be with you till you die. But what you can do is reduce the real estate you give it. Okay? So I really want you guys to think about the talk in your head. And is that talk benefiting you, or is it not? If it's not benefiting you, do something to change it, because that's what really truly makes the difference here. All right. So it's something that if you don't believe in yourself, how are you going to get parents to believe in you? Right. So really look at yourself, your self-talk, and see if you need to upgrade it a little bit. So if you, and this is, when we say entrepreneurial mindset, this is moving us from employee mindset, which all of us have been and maybe still are, okay, to this whole different mindset. And being conscious of what that includes, and what your self-talk is saying to you, becomes really, really crucial in this. All right. So it enables you to overcome challenges. When something goes wrong, it's not the end of the world. It's an adjustment. So instead of making it bigger, we talk to ourselves in a manner that will allow us to look at something that can be solved. Because if we look at a challenge and say we can't overcome it, we've just set the script. We've just set it up. Okay. So it's also employee mindset when you think about it. I'm sure all of you have worked in a company where you worked with other employees. There's always been at least one employee, depending on the size of the business, there could have been many, who never accepts responsibility. You ever run into any of those like that? You know, it's never their fault. It never happens. It was, you know, George over here that was looking the wrong way, or he wasn't there that day, or whatever it happened to be. In our business, we look around, we're the business. There's really nobody else to blame, right? So really accept responsibility for outcomes, the good ones and the not so good ones. And being a continuous learner is required. Business changes, competition changes, how we market changes. All these pieces change. And if we're not ahead of the game, we're behind the game. So learning how to read trends, learning how and really becoming a student, not of just the childcare business, but being a student of business is essential, because that is one of the things that's going to separate you from most people who start any business, if you will. It's not just childcare business. And then if you make a mistake, so what? Most mistakes, if it's not terminal, you can survive. And most mistakes are not terminal, even though sometimes we treat them like they're terminal. So think about when the mistake happens, do you beat yourself up? Is it necessary to beat yourself up? Okay, you made a mistake. What are you going to do? What are you going to change? And then move on and get good at forgiving yourself. Sometimes it feels easier to forgive others and we're harder on ourselves. And being able to realize that unless the mistake I say is terminal, and very few of those, move on. Do your best to correct it and learn from it and then move forward. And don't discount your ideas. So one of the things I learned when Susie and I first started our first business is my brain never turned off. It was like when I worked, okay, before I went into this business, I was actually the director of training for AAA for about 15 years. That was my last corporate position. I could go on a 3-week vacation and I didn't think about AAA once. I didn't worry about AAA falling down. I didn't worry about them going out of business. I didn't worry about any of those things. Okay. When I would sleep at night, I will tell you honestly, I did not dream of AAA. I did not. I can't remember one dream I had about AAA. When we started our first business, my brain did not turn off. I dreamt about this stuff. And so I had a problem where I'd wake up and say, oh, that was a brilliant idea. Now I can't remember the idea. What was it? I don't remember. So I always kept a pad and pencil by my bed. And if I woke up, I wrote it down. Now, whether it came to something or not, sometimes it did, sometimes it didn't. But it is often when we are most relaxed that the better ideas come to us, because guess who's not in our head at that moment? Sally's self-doubt. She's not in our head. Okay, she's asleep too. And so learning to take action and say, I'm going to play this one out. Let's try it. Let's do some research. Okay, can help you stay ahead, actually sometimes far ahead of your competition. So, whoops, hang on. All right. So a marketing plan, all that is why am I customer, your targeted customer? Why am I going to choose you over your competition? Because I, as a customer, I have choices. I have options. So getting into your client's head about what they care about, what is most important problem for them to solve, is going to directly relate to all of your marketing material. But it's not what about what you think it is. It is not. I have people who design products and do different things, right? And they design the product for them. Okay, it solves their problem. That's great as long as it's a problem that thousands of other people want to solve. If it's only a problem that, 3% of the population cares about, that may not be big enough for them to have a big enough audience to sell to. So understanding what the problem is really, and how I'm going to define it, and how I am going to come to the top when people think about, I'm going to go with that center rather than those two other ones that I talked to and met to, because whatever that because is. And learning what that is, because parents have options. Okay. They have choice. So this is going to be a real big piece of this. So, truth one. Yeah, I can't buy from you if I don't know you exist. So, how am I? Part of this is for you to be able to say whether you're, that makes no difference. It makes no difference. I cannot meet you. I cannot compare you to others. I cannot do any of that if I am not aware of your existence. So part of this marketing plan is developing a way for people to know you exist. And then this is the big one. Why would I choose you? I got options. You have to give me a reason, and you have to give me a reason that means something to me, not you. Because again, we have choice, and it is rarely on cheapest price, because there will always be someone cheaper, always. Okay. And so it's not, that's one thing you do not base this on. I'm the cheapest in the area, because oftentimes when you're too cheap, people sometimes think,
Where's
you
Abby?
don't
Where'd
what
Abby go?
quality, right? They say, oh geez, they can't be that
Where'd
good
Abby?
because they're so what? Cheap, right? So really get away from this idea of doing it with the cheapest price. So there are three parts of marketing that we're going to talk about. There's the plan, there's the strategy, and there's the tactics. So let's talk about each one of these in a row. And they come that way. It's first plan, then the strategy, and then the tactics. What sometimes you see is, because this is what we're most familiar with, we develop tactics first. Then our tactics are kind of like all over the board, or it's kind of like what we're used to or what we play on. You want your plan to drive everything. Okay, that's going to drive your choices of how you set up your marketing. So marketing has changed. It's changed a lot, actually. We've moved away from this idea of advertising, telling people what they needed. So if any of you've ever watched Mad Men or any of that, it's all about the marketing was telling people, I'll use a real old one, the Marlboro Man, right? And was when you could advertise cigarettes on TV. And he was always cool looking. He was a cowboy, really cute. And he'd be smoking. And the whole idea behind it was, we want you need to smoke because you'll be looking as cool as this guy. you'll be looking at, you'll be looking as cool and as manly as this guy. Piece of trivia, all the actors who played the Marlboro Man, they all died of lung cancer. I don't know, so if that is but that's a piece of trivia for you. So we've changed it now. We've changed it to what we call customer-centric marketing. So it starts with the customer. It doesn't start with us. It starts with the customer. So you need to, your marketing strategy is basically, how am I going to attract the ideal customer to me? Every customer is not necessarily a match for you. Okay. When we first started our first business, we started that business about 4 weeks before the financial crash, about 15 years ago. To say our timing was horrid is just kind of an understatement. Okay. And so our first strategy on marketing was, if you were standing and breathing, you were probably a customer for us. I am telling you, that is not a good way to choose customers. And we got burned. We got burned with some customers who were really not a good match for us. We had to change that. And we had to say, this is what we do. This is what we promise we will deliver. This is our promise. And then we attracted clients who cared about that promise. So I really want you to, in your brand strategy, is the value. What do you promise? What is it? Can I touch it? Can I feel it? Can I, how do I evaluate it as a customer? And then your strategy, and it can be a digital strategy in childcare. It can also be, it can be done in newsletters. It can be done in flyers. It can be done in some things that don't necessarily work for other businesses. But if you're a small childcare provider, flyers can work if they're put in strategic places, and things like that might not work. But you want to, how you are going to communicate what you do. So I told you I work for AAA. So AAA, their whole brand, they got started in 1902. Okay, so they've been around a long time. So what they promised, everything they did, whether it be insurance, pick up your car, help you with travel, sell you a car, whatever it was, okay, centered on three things: safety, security, peace of mind. Every piece of marketing from AAA covers at least one of those things. So then everything starts to get consistent when you are marketing your stuff, because it's surrounded by whatever components you want to make. Okay. When it comes to our children, how many of our parents are concerned about safety? Anybody want to give me an idea?
All of them.
Thank you, Jennifer. All of them. Security. Anybody?
All of them.
All of them. Peace of mind.
All of them.
All of them. They want to be able to go to work and perform well at work so they can pay for the childcare that their kids are getting. So you can steal from AAA, they'll never know it. All right, we won't tell. And I want you to think about how your marketing message is somehow going to get those, you don't say it outright, how that marketing message is going to get through. And then what they call the strategic, and these terms aren't important to you really. Strategic, you just need to know how to do them. Strategic service design. How are you going to deliver that process every time? So if you say, okay, safety, what are you putting in your child care center? What safety things do you have that will let these people know, these potential clients know that you take safety of their children seriously. So you need, when you do tours and things like that to show them, your place, you need to emphasize, because we care about safety, we have instituted XYZ. We know that security is really important. So we have XYZ, okay, whatever it is. And we want you to have peace of mind when you leave the most important thing in your life to you. And this is what we do to give you peace of mind. You can call us, you can reach us. If you're close enough to us for your work and you want to come have lunch, fine. Whatever it is, okay, that you can think about that will make it match. That's where the power of this comes in. And you have to be able to deliver that process every single time. You have to be able to be consistent with it and set up systems that make it easy for you to be consistent. So like when they come for a tour, there's a packet that's put together, all the packets are the same, they cover the same thing, and you give them this information and say, I'll include it in your packet, I'll include this in your packet, take it home and review it. Okay, but all those packets are focused on the same thing, and they have something to take home with them to review with their significant other or just to think about it or whatever. So I want us to think about this for a second. So the first thing, when we think about marketing, who is your target market? So I'm going to guess that some of you have different age groups or a combination of age groups that you serve. I want you to define that target market. I want you to also come up with what we call the unique selling point. That's the top reason I'm going to choose you. That's what that is. That is your oftentimes we call it your differentiating factor, whatever it is. How are you going to make yourself different from all the other competition you got, or at least a lot of the competition you have out there? And then how are you going to display that brand? Even when you're a home care center, you need to have a brand. It doesn't have to be fancy, but it needs to be consistent. It needs to be on all of your marketing material. It needs to be on all the packets that you give out to people. Okay, they start to see it, they start to get comfortable with it, and it's just they oftentimes, especially with the smaller centers, they don't expect it. And so when you come across like the bigger centers, guess what? You look more polished, more together than your competition. So once you have figured this out, and we're going to go into this more, but once you have figured this out, you can figure out how you're going to market this material out. You can figure it out, okay? But you've got to figure out this piece of it. So think about why people choose childcare. Sometimes it's close to their home, right? So it's convenient. Sometimes it's close to their work, so they can, if an emergency happens or anything like that, they're close. Why are people choosing you? So that's why that becomes really important for you to know and to identify. And Raul knows this too. Through the SBDC, guys, we do marketing classes. We go into great detail with this stuff. So you can always look through what the SBDC offers and get more into this, if you will. So a while back, this empathy map, okay, was developed. And it's really about putting yourself in your customer's shoes. What do they care about? What is keeping your customer up at night? What is keeping your target market up at night? How are they feeling? What do they see in the environment? If they see crime, or are they really safety conscious, right? What is going on in their head? Getting to know that, this is where we get into market research and things like that. But this is, what are they hearing other people say? What's being said, right? But it really comes down to, that top part comes down to where it says pains and gains. This is how all that information above feeds into. So I'm going to spend some time talking about that one. So you need to understand how your service, your business, your center is either perceived as a gain or pain. So first, you have to define what your customer wants done. That we call that customer jobs. Okay, they want a learning environment. They want consistency. They want good food or organic food, or I don't know, whatever for lunch. What is the things they want? What is it? You list it. And then when you list it, once you list that, then you start saying, in what order what is their most important thing? What is it? What seems to be the most important concern? And you just work with the first top two or whatever. And then you start identifying how you can take what you do, or what is their pain? What is keeping them up at night, right? What do they perceive as a gain? So let me give you some examples that have nothing to do with childcare. Okay. So the story I always tell is my story. So a few years ago, I was very lucky growing up. I grew up in Southern California by the beach. Pretty cool place to grow up in California by the beach. And my parents never moved. They bought one house, and they stayed there until my mother passed away. So there was only one house in our life, and we moved there when I was about 5. And I went to school with the same kids in elementary school, junior high, and high school. We were all the same. And the church my parents went to was in the same place. So my church friends went to that school too. So I grew up with the same people. So we came to Colorado probably 27 years ago or so. My husband was transferred here. And I had gone to, I think, 2 reunions. No, one. Maybe one, just one. And I never went back for a reunion. Never did. And I'm friends on Facebook with a lot of my friends who I had in kindergarten, right? And one of them, Susie, redheaded Susie, we call her. Susie, she's talking to me on Facebook, and she goes, the reunion's coming up, at the end of this year. You need to come out and go to the reunion. And I go, no, I'm cool. No, I'm not really going to do. Well, Susie is nothing if not persistent. Okay. And she kept at this thing, right? So fine. And she's all, well, we'll do a girls' weekend. Janet and Joan will all get together for a girls' weekend. You can visit with your mom and your brothers, and we'll just have this girls' weekend. It'll be great. So finally, I relented. And by this time it's February. The reunion is not to the end of August. All right. So it's February, and I finally say, okay, all right. Well, what I don't say to her, but what is going on in my head is I'm thinking, okay, end of August, surely I can lose 35 pounds by August. Because I'm envisioning that everybody I went to school with is as skinny as they were when I left or last saw them. Right. So I got time. I got plenty of time. We're cool. So I bought my plane tickets. I bought the tickets to the reunion. I told my mom I was coming out, all of this kind of stuff. All right. So time passes. And then all of a sudden, it's the 1st of August. Oh, guess who has not lost 35 pounds? It is me. And so now I'm in panic mode. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So now I'm headed for the store because I got to buy my weekend wardrobe, and I got to find something magic here. Okay, I gotta say. So we were having a barbecue before the homecoming game, and so I said, "Oh my God, everybody's gonna be wearing jeans at this stupid barbecue," and I hate jeans. I just absolutely abhor them. And so, but I'm looking for a new pair of jeans. So I'm going along the rack, and I'm looking at the tag. And I run across this tag, and I will tell you, I do exaggerate this just a tad. But the tag said that basically this is material that because we landed on the moon in 1969, they were able to develop this material that is in these jeans. And when you put them on, you automatically look like you lost 15 pounds. Well, I'll go for 15. I can't get the 35, but I'll go for the 15. I don't care how much these jeans cost. I could care less. I don't care if I have to mortgage the house. I don't care. Okay. I have an emergency. So I try them on. I think, okay, well, at least I can get them zipped up. Okay, come on. Maybe I look okay. Right. And then I go home. And now I'm modeling my new wardrobe for the weekend for my husband. Okay. Who is staying behind. And he and I have been married, we married a long time since high school. So anyway, he says, so he knows the drill. Right. And so I'm trying on my new wardrobe, and I've got the jeans on. And he goes, "Honey, have you lost weight?" And I'm like, I now remember why I love this man. He's perfect for me. Okay, kind of thing. So I pack my stuff up, I go. I go to a reunion, and everybody's got at least the same 35 pounds. Okay, if not more. We have a wonderful time. I reconnect with everybody. They're all on my Facebook time. I have a wonderful time with them. I was not buying jeans. What was I buying? Somebody tell me.
Confidence.
You betcha. And I was willing to pay more for confidence than I was willing to pay for any kind of jeans. So when you think of these things, okay, I want you to think about the emotional drivers. What is driving people to choose the childcare they have? Okay, you need to really understand that. And then once you understand that, so and Raul, excuse me, I'm going to make fun with this one. It's going to be a joke, but just going to go with me on this one. Okay. Can anybody tell me why 65-year-old men buy Corvettes? Does anybody have any idea? Is it because they just want to get to the market? You think? Nope, it is not. And so they are willing to pay a high price for what they believe or they perceive as a gain. And it's not just men. Okay. So, but the point is, it's one of the two. So then you take the services you offer and you move it over to that left side. And you take the products and services that you do and you turn them into a gain creator or a pain reliever. And people hear it because it addresses what is in their head. Once you learn how to do this, guys, it gets much easier to do. Sometimes it takes time. And guess what? We have consultants that can help you with this. So if they care about, and I'll take something really generic, if they care about having flexible ways to pay for their childcare, so do you take credit cards? Do you make it easy for them to what? Pay you. What are the things that you can do if they care about their children being in a socially interactive environment? What have you got in your center that is showing them that their child is learning social skills that will help them as they get older to integrate into schools and other situations? Really hone into what these pains and gains are, and then that's what you talk about. We offer this because, and you connect all of that. And then your script is matching what is going in their head. So I want you to think about these guys. Okay, so this is insurance. So these two, this was the highest revenue generating insurance commercial ever, or advertising campaign ever designed. And there are some unique reasons for that. So first guy on the left, good looking guy, very beautiful voice. And he says, "You are in safe hands with Allstate." Well, that's for the people who care, they're planners. Okay, they worry, they're fearful of having an accident, and what do they do, and how, traumatic that would be. And, they want somebody that if they get an accident, they call up and they believe that their insurance company is going to listen to them, care about them, and take it off their plate. Okay, that's what they're looking for. And then there was Mr. Mayhem guy. Actually, there's still Mr. Mayhem guy. Now, Mr. Mayhem guy, he was all fear-driven. It was, what if, okay, I show up and I run you into a ditch, or I run you, and people, oh my God, that could happen to you. And it was all fear-driven, because we're driven so often by safe and fear. And they played into this campaign, and it has been amazingly simple for them. But on the fear side, it was all with humor. So it wasn't fearful horror, it was fearful funny. And they would accept it because it was fearful funny, but they got the message underneath. So really start thinking about how you are presenting yourself to your audience. But again, most successful campaign ever for insurance. And insurance is not a sexy subject. So they did a really good job with that. So first thing you have to define is, what does your client care about? I want you to start writing a list. What do they care about? And then what you're going to do, once you have that list, then you are going to rank it. You're going to say they care about this more than they care about this, this, or this. And that's going to tell you what your number one thing you're going to talk about. And I will say this to you guys, look at your competition. No, and to be honest with you, in childcare, you can look at any childcare center anywhere. I don't care if it's in Nevada, Oregon, or whatever, because people care about their kids in the same way. And when you look at these websites, I want you to look at those websites, and when you see how they phrase things, and you go, oh, I really love how they said that, or I love how they set up their website with these categories. I want you to screenshot that page, and I want you to start building a library of things you like, because that's going to help you put yours together. Because you're starting to, and always ask yourself, and remember, you're not the customer, but because you've identified what your people care about, you can say they would love that. That really hits home. And that's how you can start to design all of your marketing material, and it's consistent, because consistency is hugely important in this. So we're going to look at some things here. So I want you to look at this flyer. The ABC Creative Learning Academy. Can somebody tell me what they think of this flyer? Give me some opinions here. What do you see? What do you like? What you don't like? Or just give me an idea.
I think it's too busy, too many colors.
Okay, so too many colors. What else?
I agree with Jean. There's like too much going on. And it's got you know, important, pertinent information, but also it's got a lot going on. Too many colors, too many graphics. Do you really need your fax number on there?
I would hope not. Okay.
Right?
And it's very, think about what they're the information you're giving them. Is it emotional information or is it factual information?
It's factual.
Okay. So I want you to think about that, what is telling you about the business. So I'm going to give you another one. Okay. So, and you'll see in the bottom that one that's just got mishy-mashy words, but I want you to look at the top. Looking for a place where your child can learn and grow at their own pace. A place filled with adventure and where crafts fuel creativity. Do you seek an environment where your little one is safe to explore and discover? Look no further. Because you have found nirvana. Oh, that's an invisible ink. We can't see. Okay. Look no further. Curiosity starts where? Here. And then we nurture the curiosity of each child so they grow in knowledge and in confidence of their capabilities. And they have pictures of what? Kids. Happy kids, right? And then down below, here's the subjects we teach. This is what we talk about. And then at the bottom, it tells you where you can schedule a scheduled tour. Which one of these advertisements do you think is better and why?
Nancy,
Mm-hmm.
I think this one definitely looks better. It feels more like down to earth and genuine. And something that I recently learned, I don't even remember what course it was, but it was like a marketing seminar that I attended, and they said that one thing that studies have shown is that there's something to the visual appeal of our eyes that if you have information, the most important information in like the top 1/3 of your page, I think it's to the left of the page, like that's how you capture people's information, or that's how you capture information. And what's interesting about this specific ad is, to me, and just what I keep hearing about how everything has changed and people don't want to scroll down, people don't want to read too much. Like
Right.
there are a lot of words in it, but there's also more images than words too. So you know, for me, who's somebody who's very wordy, as I talk a lot right now, you know, it speaks to me, but I think some people who I've worked with in marketing would say, you know, this actually is too wordy for like a flyer.
And it may be, okay? So, but you're absolutely right about we read from left to right. Our eyes naturally move from left to right. And that's why this is set up this way. Okay. So, but what the point I want to get across is, and one of the things I love about this particular one is I love in big letters, it says curiosity starts here. We expect centers to be safe. We expect them to be clean. We expect. But curiosity, wow, that's got me intrigued. So these are the this is why I really want you to look at your competition. And Sarah, a lot of us are wordy. I'm in your camp, and you guys are going to be able to tell that. So I'm in your camp as well. Okay. I've used them. You can write stuff out and you have an AI, you know, you can use Grammarly or whatever, and then you can say, make it shorten it, and it just shortens it right up and makes it much less wordy. So there's things that you can use. I don't recommend it to write your stuff. I think you should start writing your stuff and then you can clean it up. But understanding that there are tools out there that can help you shorten it up. Or in some cases on a website, these are just in different places. right? So we're not just necessarily talking about a flyer here. So again, you have options, but look at your competition. So let's talk market research. Okay, so market research can be very expensive. It can be, you can search online. Sometimes you don't know what to trust and what to not. But you guys have resources here that I want you to take advantage of. Okay, so the first is the Denver Public Library. And I'm talking about the one on 14th Street downtown. It is the largest one in the state. So that means it has the most money. Okay. The Denver Public Library, and they're closed all the they've been doing remodeling for, I think, for 3 years or something. And your connection with the library is all going to be done by Zoom, so you don't have to worry about going down there or any of that. They, way before COVID, their 3rd floor was dedicated to business. And they spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on marketing research that is totally available to you for free with your library card. Okay? You only have to be a resident of the state to have an online Denver library card. So there's a link there, and Raul will also give you that link, or he will send it to you as well. But they have something that only, I checked a couple, and maybe it's changed, but I checked a couple of years ago, only 5 state library systems offered this. They have these wonderful people called business librarians. They are the most nerdy people you're ever going to meet in your entire life, and they are absolutely wonderful. Okay. When you make that click where it says denverlibrary.org BizBoost, okay, for a couple of things you're going to tell them. You're going to tell them that you are a current client of the SBDC because you're in this class. Okay. Reason you do that is, number one, they're shorthanded right now, but number two, that gets you in first. They save slots for you guys. Okay, they save empty seats, so you get in earlier than if you just went to it directly without that information. You're going to tell them that you have a childcare center. If you have your location and where you are or the area you want to be in, you need to let them know that. And then you're going to tell them that you want to know more about the demographics around that area, right? And so what's going to happen is they're going to contact you, and they're going to set up a Zoom appointment with you. They will have done about an hour's worth of research before they even speak to you. So depending on, so those of you who have a center, this isn't so much at home, but on a center, this becomes really important. Traffic patterns become really important for you guys who have centers. All right. So years ago, I met a guy, a client came to speak to me through the consulting and whatever. And his church ran a daycare. And unfortunately, the person who had been running the daycare for many years got ill and could no longer do it. So he said, I was standing in the wrong place during the business meeting, and I got appointed to be in charge. And I know nothing about childcare. Okay, so he was panicked. And so one of the questions I asked him is, I said, how many students are you, can you have in this school, right? And I think he said something like they could have 60 kids. Okay. And I said, well, that's great. I said, how many do you have? And he says, we have 29. I said, do you have any reason why you just have 29? He says, I really don't know. So the church was located on a corner. So what we did is he went to he used BizBoost, and he went and he found out the traffic flow on these two streets. They had a huge sign. They paid a lot of money for it. They had a huge sign that was portable, but it was huge flag signs that they could put that said childcare, here. Guess what street it was on? It was on the street that had no traffic. So all they did was move the sign over to that got more traffic going by. And in 4 months, they were up to capacity. Something as simple as that, but they didn't know. So you want to learn about the demographics in around your area. You can, they have programs that literally you can put in an address and you can say, I want to know everything about the demographics within, I'm making this number up, 5 miles. Okay. It will pull up neighborhoods, and it will show you neighborhoods, and it will say these people, their names, their address, have shown interest in childcare, reading, they have kids between ages 8, whatever it is. Those names and addresses come up for you. And then you are able to go to Vistaprint and get a postcard, and you're going to send out grand opening, right? Or if you're already established, whatever, send it out. You can have our marketing guys look at your flyer and do all of your postcard before you send it out, right? And you're going to offer 20% off the first week or whatever, and come and take a tour. But you're only sending those postcards to people who have what? Children, the ages you want to target. So you're not blanketing with everybody, you're just blanketing with those. If you live near let's say where your facility is, whether it's your home or the facility, there's a lot of offices around it or businesses around it, okay? So now we're talking people who would like to have childcare near their home. Near their business, okay? So then you make up a nice, either a packet or a flyer or something like that, probably a flyer. Flyer is the cheapest way to do this, a flyer. And you go to that business, you go to that office building, you go and you talk to, it's usually who you want to talk to. You want to ask for HR, human resources. And you ask human resources, you tell them you have a center very close by, and that you would like to make their workers aware of the convenience of where you are, or where you are located. Can you, or would they put these flyers in the lunchroom? Well, employers want employees that are concentrating on their job and not their children. So more often than not, they're going to say, sure. And so now it's down in the lunchroom, and people go by and say, oh, or it's on the bulletin board, or however they do their notifying things, right? And you can set them up if you want, where they can pull off, the phone number kind of thing, if it's a poster or anything, and make people aware you exist. Sometimes it's the simple stuff that can help you do that. So the second thing that we have, and Raul can send this to you as well, it's called IBIS World Reports. Okay, so IBIS World is a global company, and what they do is they do industry reports. Okay, well, they actually do industry research that they turn into industry reports. These reports are anywhere from 35 to usually 50 or 60 pages long. Banks believe what they say. They usually say this industry and they have the United States. So they say this industry made this kind of money, revenue, the last 5 years. This is what we expected to do the next 5 years. And then they take it and they put it in a pie shape, and they say they divide it up into different kinds of versions of this childcare in this case, right? And then they do a SWOT analysis. So what a SWOT analysis is, some of you may know, but what a SWOT analysis is strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Strengths and weaknesses are internal. Opportunities and threats are external. So on the strengths, you say, this is why we're good. This is why my business is good. This is its strength. It's close to this, that, and whatever it is. Okay, kind of thing. This is the strengths. And then opportunities are weaknesses is this is where we're a little weak, we're whatever they are, because you're going to, and then opportunities, these are outside. So what opportunities, what changes are in demographics, what changes in what's going out there with the economy or whatever it is, okay? Are there opportunities out there? That's that. Threats are, COVID was a threat to childcare, I might say, right? So they're outside. I can't necessarily control them, but I can mitigate them. So strengths and weaknesses, that's internal. I look at my strengths and say, how do I advertise that? How do I let people know that's what we do? How do I because people care about it, and it's a strength that my competitor doesn't have. Weaknesses, and every business model has weaknesses. Okay, you look at your weaknesses and you say, how can I mitigate them? What can I do to make them seem less or be less of a weakness? Okay, opportunities, a new industry park, let's say an industry park is being built or whatever, that could be an opportunity, right, for possible clients. How am I going to take advantage of that? What do I need to do? Okay, and then threats from the economy and all of that. This goes into, do I need to save money? It's not just about making money every week. How much money do I need to put in savings? So if threats come along, I have money to get me through whatever that threat is. That's what that is. And then they do like budgets. So on their budgets, they say this type of industry, their budget is usually 20% on location, 30%, so I'm talking centers in this case, 30% for, I don't know, 30% for, what do I make 30%? My mind just went blank. It's been a long day. So, but think about what goes in there, right? Because that's the stuff, okay, that you're going to leverage. That's the stuff that people are going to pay attention to you for. So that's how you use that. Well, guess what? This business, they tell you all of that. So on your budget down there, you're not interested. The numbers don't make a difference. It's percentages. So if they say average, they spend 20% on employees, then guess what your budget should look like? 20% on what? Employees. If they say the average on rent is X, guess what you go by? The average on that. So it helps you do your financial projections. It helps you figure out, okay, what this is going to look like. So you guys can get to where you can say, this is where, once I have X amount of students, we break even. Anything after that, that's gravy. Okay, that's profit. Owners get paid out of profit. That's what owners get paid out of, profit. So it helps you figure that out. These reports, you can go onto IBIS and you could actually buy one. I'm not recommending it, but you can buy it. Depending on the size of that report, they charge, IBIS would love to charge you $1,500 to $3,000 for this report. However, We have membership to IBIS, which means that we can pull those reports and we can we PDF them and send them to you for free. So take advantage of that. Also, there's the Colorado Resource Book. I don't know if you guys have already given this to them, but that's a 75-page business startup guide. Okay, so it says, this is everything there's a list in the beginning, maybe 5 pages, and it says, this is everything I have to do to make sure that I don't get a call I didn't want or a letter in the mail I didn't want. It's how do I stay straight with the state, with all the agencies I have to care about, with the federal government, with my city. Okay, that's that. And then the next 70 pages is nothing but information on all of those things, all the phone numbers, all the websites, all the explanations is all there. So it's a great reference point for you, right? Questions, guys? Any questions so far? We're good? Okay. So you want to create your marketing materials. Okay, so that may be a website. You got to have a website, guys. Websites are just like business cards used to be. So people hear about you, they see your sign, and they want to go look and see if you're for real. Now, I realize that a website does not guarantee you are for real. I get that, okay? But we expect to see it. So we want to see a website. What promotions are you offering? Do you open promotions? How do you handle that? If you have flyers, what do they look like? And they need to look consistent. So colors are always consistent, right? Our brand is always successful. Our logo's on there, whatever it is, people see it and they recognize it as yours. Brochures are more professional than flyers. So if people come in for a visit, I want you guys to think about a packet that you're going to have together for them that they walk out with. So they can show their significant other, it can sit on the kitchen table, and they can go through and talk about it. All right. So everything you give them goes into that file, or everything you talk about is already in that file. And it's an expense. So when we think about, a lot of times we look at this stuff and we say, well, that's an expense. That is true. It is an expense. It is the cost of doing business. It needs those costs need to be integrated into your financials. It needs to be integrated into your pricing.
Nancy, do you have any suggestions for putting tuition on the website? Or how would you strategically market your tuition pricing? Like, do you think it's better to be transparent and upfront about it? Do you think it's better to have them request it? What do you think?
I think there's as anything, I think there's 2 ways to look at it. If you put your tuition out there, you're weeding out the people who can't afford you. So they don't waste your time coming in and then realizing they can't afford you, right? So to me, and again, I've never done childcare. I mean, I've done childcare. I had 4 kids, but that was a different kind. But I think personally, I think if you put that out there, you just save yourself grief of talking to people who would love to come but can't afford it. Right? And then, so that would be my advice, but you can test it. You could test marketing, and you guys can mark these, and you can say, I'm sending out this flyer or this brochure out to this group and to this, I'm handing out this way. And then and track it. And so when they come back, you find out how did you find out about us? Well, this was your brochure, and your brochure was in that area and which one they picked up. So then you start understanding which one is hitting and which one is not. Okay, they have a name for that. That's called A and B marketing. Okay, from what you want to do. So you do have an opportunity with that, but make sure they have something to take home with them that looks professional, no spelling errors. Okay, that's use spell check, have somebody else read it for you. Like I say, we have marketing people here, but really look at that. Referral programs. So turn them into salespeople for you. So you give them a bonus of something. If somebody they recommend signs up with you, they get a discount for a week or something. I don't know, whatever it is you want to do. Okay. But that makes them to remember to recommend you. There's a reason for them to remember you. It's just not a nice to do. It's something that puts you more at top of mind. And then if you are opening open house, if you're in business, periodically do an open house. Grand opening is usually just for the first time, right? But let people see what you are offering. Give them an opportunity to do that, okay? And then your social media campaign, it is not every social media known to man here. It's where your people find their information. Is it on TikTok? Is it on, I don't know, Instagram? Is it on, Facebook? I don't know, right? Find out where that is and only do one or two. Don't get crazy with this because you can't keep it up because you're running a child care center, okay? You don't have a lot of time. So you just need to focus on where your particular target market goes. And that becomes that key. So real quickly, here's the touch points. All the different places every time you touch them, the more touch points you have, the more likely they are to find you, right? It takes, depending on the business, if you will, you have to touch somebody sometimes 5 up to 10 times before they make a decision. It's usually not right off. So think about these things. Look at this slide when you have time, but is it, clean, inviting? Do people, they when they see a clean floor, okay, when they see a clean counter, guess what they think is clean? Everything, right? So what does that look like? The staff, if it's you or if it's a team, they need to be trained. And they need to be trained that their greeting is always the same. They hand out this package. This is what they say. This is what the follow-up is. And if it's you need to be trained. Okay. So everything you do is the same every single time. And then what is your customer service program? It's like, how are you going to answer the phone? Is it consistent? Okay. How do you do customer service? What does that look like for you? Again, all of these things roll into every time they have an interaction with you, that is a touch point. You need to make those touch points 100% positive. That's the goal, okay, with this. So I'm going to talk a little bit about social media video in here in a second, okay? Hang on. So video has become huge for us, okay? So you can make a video on your smartphone. It doesn't take, we don't expect fancy anymore. We expect friendly. It used to be that you used to spend tons of money on a 60-second professionally made we used to call them explainer videos, which was an introduction video. And they could cost you $4,000. Okay. Now we've been introduced to YouTube. Okay. And on YouTube, oh my gosh, do you guys expect professionalism on YouTube? Does anybody? I'm just checking. All right. No, we don't. So you don't have to, what they want is authenticity. Authenticity sells. Smiles sell. Okay. So keep it short, 90 seconds or less. You can use it to pan the facility, show what you do. Videos should be lighthearted, fun, not serious. There's other things to think about. The activities that are in the classroom. Now, you can't make videos of the children unless they're your own. Or the neighbors, and the neighbors gave you permission to use their children. Okay, that is fine. Okay, but you want to think about where you would use this, right? Some of it would be in marketing, but some of it is just to send out to the parents who are already enrolled to let them know what their children are involved in, or any of that. You can have a teacher, or you can do a little video that you send out that week or maybe that month or whatever it is, and you say, this is what we're all going to be focusing on this week, or this month. It's, I don't know, May and spring, and or it's Halloween and we're doing this, whatever it is, and send it out so they get it in the email and they know what their kid is going to be doing this week, right? You can use it to introduce a new employee. All right, this is Miss Sally, and we're so excited to have her. Come on, Miss Sally, let's introduce you. Again, doesn't have to be big. Encourage, if parents come to you and say, I love what you're doing, my kid has been doing so much better, yada, yada, yada. You know what you ask them? You say, would you mind doing a video testimonial for me? When you do video testimonials, you take 3 questions. I don't care what, take 3 questions. Whatever those questions are the same every time in a video. And then you can take it on the phone or whatever, ask the question, and they answer, right? And then you can go back and you can easily edit it, take out the question. So now it's just a continuous conversation, but you have 3 or 4 of those on your website. It's all consistent, but people don't know why it's consistent. But it's consistent because they're answering all the same questions. But it looks more professional to do that. On your website, have a tour of the building. Show them all of the, or the center, and they can click it on and get a feel for it before they ever meet you in person. Those are just different ways that you can use video, but we like video. And on your website, video drives traffic. So that is all. So those of you who don't like to be on camera, okay, that's okay. You can put together a slideshow. Okay, PowerPoint can do some pretty cool things now. So there's stock video out there that you can get. You can use Canva. On Canva, they have free stuff. You don't have to pay for it, where you can get some really cool pictures and so forth. There's stock video that is okay for you. It's not copyrighted. You can use it. Oh, here you go. Here's one.
Nancy, we don't hear the audio that goes with this.
Oh, you don't?
No.
Well, that's because it's just music.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's just. Okay, so that's a possibility. And again, you can get stock video as well. So here's some tips for you on doing camera. And then final things, edit your video, and then always make sure you have a call to action, which means sign up, call us, whatever it is. So that's the presentation. So has anybody got any questions or comments? Somebody talk to me. I get so lonely when no one talks to me.
I don't know if somebody has a question, but Shelly
Yeah.
told me that Robin was instrumental in marketing the commercial for Allstate that you were talking about. So I want to know more about that because I'm nosy.
Yeah.
She's on here, Robin.
I
Yeah.
am on here. I used to work, I was a marketing manager for the West Central region which was Colorado was part of. And so when they were trying to roll it out nationally for Dennis Haysbert, the Black actor, I was instrumental in that part. I really was. I was like, who told them that? But now I know, Shelley knows, but I did. I was instrumental. I was, part of the team.
Oh my
that
God, Robin, so that I
identified.
met you, I'm closer to that really handsome guy. I mean, really?
Yeah, you're really closer to him. I didn't get to talk to him, but we were, we got a couple different people they were going to try to talk to, and he was willing to go with it. And so, like you said, the rest is history, but I was at Allstate.
And it's been very good for him financially.
I'm sure it was, but he had to make enough that he didn't do acting because he was
That's
basically
right.
owned by Allstate, and he did well.
That's
so I'm sure
He did
did.
well.
But yeah, so
And didn't have
I
to work
was
a whole lot of hours to do it.
no,
So
no, and he does have a very beautiful voice. He
Yep.
does, and he has a very clean record.
does.
So, that's
Yep.
what you're always
Which is
afraid of when you
right.
identify someone like that. So yes, I was a
Yep.
part of
That's-
that. But now I left
Wow.
Allstate 20 years ago. Isn't that funny? So that's when he started about 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how long.
Huh?
And Mr. Mayhem's still going on.
Yeah.
And Mr. Mayhem's still going on. So
Mhm.
that just tells you how they don't keep playing these commercials if they don't work.
Right.
Right.
Mhm.
And they work for them.
Right.
So
So-
any other questions, guys? Thoughts?
And thank you for all the little comments that came out there. I appreciate that. But I like childcare better too. I would say that.
Fair.
Yes. I think child care can be extremely rewarding. And I'm not talking about necessarily the money, which is helpful, but I think that it's an awesome responsibility. And I think influencing children's behavior and their curiosity and everything early on is vital in today's environment. And you have skills sometimes the parents don't have. And so being able to do that, I think is all I can say, guys, is you're doing good work. Okay, it's really necessary and important. So it's great to meet you. Ron can tell you about all the resources, like I'm sure he has, of the SBDC. Dora is amazing. And so we're here to help you in any way we can. So I'm going to go have dinner.
Thank you for
All right.
coming, Nancy. This has been awesome.
All righty. Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay, you guys. How are we thinking? Does everybody, we're all still awake? We're doing good? Okay. Yes, that's kind of, all right, awesome. We're gonna go ahead and go into a breakout room for about 15 minutes or so. I'm hoping to get you guys back here at like 7:40. And then we'll kind of debrief for about 10 minutes and try to get you out 10 minutes early. This is my goal now. I'm gonna try to get you guys out like 10 minutes early and act like I'm doing you a favor of some sort, even though it's only 10 minutes. But still, we should try. See, Robin's clapping. This is the goal. Yeah. Okay. So in these breakout rooms, I've tried to kind of shuffle you guys from where I know that you are at, so that you can kind of hear some feedback from people that might be in different, have been in this industry longer or are new to this industry, kind of so you can learn from each other. So in this breakout room, share a flyer or any marketing material you have and ask for feedback. So if you have a flyer you've made, if there's something you're using, you guys should all be able to kind of share your screens if you want to, get some feedback about that, a logo, whatever. If you want to use the time together for that, you can. Talk about marketing methods you've tried. If you're a long-term successful provider and your program's doing really well, share with the others like what you've done that has kind of helped you, so we can really learn from each other. Ideas for marketing you have, if there's things you've tried where you're like, this was great, or if there's other things where you're like, don't do it this way, like share those things with each other. Places that you've marketed that have worked well for your program, and other places where you're like, this is not great. Don't put up a flyer to consumers, because it's all downhill from there. Like if there's something that you've learned that you're like, don't do this, or something where you're like, this was really great and no one's using it. So we're all kind of in different areas of town, of the state. Like I think it's great for us to be able to kind of share those things. And then also maybe think about what makes your program different. kind of like what she said, childcare providers are not necessarily in competition with each other because each program is so different. The theories are different, the curriculum's different, the staff are all different, the values that every program has is very different. It's not just apples to apples, everything's the same. Like, it's just not how childcare works. And you guys all have different specializations that make you a place where different types of families want to go. Like, it's kind of different. So maybe think about that as well. So I'm going to give you guys that time. Does everybody kind of understand what we're talking about? We're good? No, now you guys have to talk because she did all the talking. So that's on you guys. I will see you back here at 7, probably 7, like 43.
The RB shared her website with us, and we kind of went over that a little bit. So that was helpful for me to see. So just not,
Great.
Just starting out in the field. So
Awesome. Thanks for the transparency, RB.
Robin and
All
Sarah
about
shared a good reminder.
transparency.
Oh, go ahead. Robin and Sarah shared a good reminder to make sure that families can be reflected in kind of the images and anything that we're showing so that families can see themselves. And then we were talking about kind of the bigger question mark for all of us was how to use social media well.
Yes. That part can get really tricky, but I do sometimes wonder if families are looking at that as much as we think they are, as opposed to like websites and stuff.
I don't think they are. I don't really, for like, social media is great marketing for some businesses, but I'm not sure childcare is one of them.
And that was exactly part of our questions.
Yeah, I mean, especially because the children are the most interesting thing, and they're who you shouldn't be putting on social media.
Yep.
I think for me though, because I'm a home license center and because of where I live and it's a smaller community, it has worked well for me. But like for, centers and stuff and that are in bigger areas, I agree with that. But we've lived up here since 2006, and that's pretty much word of mouth and social media is all I've used up here in this area. And then I do post pictures, but I always put a sticker over the kid's face, but so they can like see what activities they're doing and stuff like that. So
That's a good idea. Where are you located?
I'm in Indian Hills, so it's evergreen conifer, kind of stuck in between that Kittredge area up in the mountains, foothills.
It's beautiful up there.
Yeah.
Do you mind sharing how you use what types of social media and how you use it, just out of curiosity?
So that we have because our community is so small, there'll be like an Indian Hills Facebook page, there's an evergreen Facebook page, there's a conifer, pine, I can't remember the other one. And so I post in those, and then the majority of my families too, it's word of mouth, but I'll post in there when I have openings available. And usually I just tell a little bit about myself. And like I said, I'll have pictures of my space, the outside area, and then like activities that the children are doing throughout the day. And then, always offer them to come here when the children are here actually to do like a walkthrough so that they can see the children that their kids would be interacting with. So that's how I use it.
Thank you. Dora, have you ran into anybody who's used like TikTok and all that stuff?
I've seen people use it for teachers, kind of like showing like their teachers being silly, or like art projects that the teachers have made or things like that. But I don't know many parents are looking at TikTok for that kind of stuff. But it can be cute to be like, look at the TikTok we made. Like I've seen some of like the costume parade for Halloween and things like that, but I've usually only ever seen like staff in those. Or like team building type of things, which I don't know if parents care about some of that. But it is fun for the staff. Like it's kind of cute for them to make silly videos or whatever. Like,
thank you.
Can I want to drop a thought on that. I'm not in childcare at all. Not too familiar with childcare businesses, but I think there might be a place for sharing like educational content through something like that. and talking about like if you have a specific philosophy that's different, or you are different in some unique way, like you do more like, let's say, engineering focused play, or I'm making stuff up right now, but if you do something very different that you can just talk about, and it's just another way of getting out there. And you never know. It's like Nancy said, all these things at the end of the day, you got to try, test it, and see if it works. But give it a good try. Like, don't do it for a day and then be like, "That didn't work." Right. Don't expect to go viral either. But a lot of things with the social media, a big thing that can help is you follow people that you think are in your target market at the same time you're creating content. If you just create content, someone may never find you. But if you are connecting with people in your market and creating content, now you're showing them something, but you're getting their attention by connecting with them, and then they'll follow you back, and then all of a sudden you got that thing. But there's also one more piece to it, it's outbound marketing that Nancy kind of alluded to, but I think people very highly underutilize in social media. Carrie, you kind of alluded to this, is you post in a group, or if you have followers, then what you do is you message every single one of them from time to time, right? Like, hi, thanks for following. I'm just curious, what made you follow us? Or if you post in a group, you DM people, hey, just reaching out. I know we're in the same group, and it's just building relationships. And then you never know, that could turn into, oh yeah, I have a child, we're looking at new places, blah, blah, blah.
Sarah, did you have a comment?
Did, and I lost it for a second. So something that we were talking about in our group a little bit is, so when you're, social media is not one lane at all, and it depends on who your target groups are, not just on the level of children, but also your target audiences. And so something I learned is that if you are in an area that might have you have a diverse community, and you might have some families whose grandparents pay the tuition for the children. So you might want to figure out, Facebook or other areas that group of people use. We were talking about TikTok a little bit, and I think TikTok can be really helpful, because part of what we have to understand too, that we're not just recruiting for families, we're recruiting for staff. And when you're trying to get, staff that you're going to have high retention, those are great resources to use for that. But the other thing is, like, nowadays, I mean, I don't do social media. I'm really mad about it. I could care less. But when it kind of pops into one of my feeds, or when I have to, these shorts are a huge thing right now, and they're really annoying. I hate how when somebody's talking, the words pop up one at a time, but like that's the trend right now. So, I think us being willing and able to maybe get over, I'm speaking to and for myself, some of those challenges or things of social media, but using it for good for your business and for, the edification of whatever. Those are really great marketing, and you can get to that heart and that core of things too.
The words popping up reminds me of we used to do the voices of kids. So we didn't necessarily want to show pictures of the kids, but you still want to feel like you are getting an accurate representation of what's going on. Popping up the words while having a child's voice is a nice way to do that.
That's great. Yeah. I think the thing to remember too is, like, figure out what works and do what works, because I've seen some programs try to do everything and it just looks exhausting. Like, they're trying to do Facebook and Brightwheel and their website and keeping that updated, and newsletters and letters to parents. But like, it's just a lot. Like, try new things, but also do what works, and don't feel like you need to do every platform all the time. Any closing thoughts, you guys? Okay, so I will put the link in the chat if you want to meet with Nancy. I lied about getting you out 10 minutes early. Now it's going to be 4 minutes early, but it's still early. So it's going to be a win. And next week will be our last class. So the homework for today, post in the Google Classroom just any takeaways you had. If you didn't share them with the whole group, any advice you have, if there was something really insightful in your group that you hadn't gotten a chance to really share with us right now, put that in the Google Classroom. Like something I heard that I thought was really inspirational or helpful was blah, 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 blah. Like that would be great. And that can be your homework for next week. Cool. All right. 4 minutes early, 3 minutes early. See, it's getting shorter as I go. Okay.